everybody, and I'm so excited to be here today. Welcome to our very first Minds Matters talk show, where I'll be sharing with you some fun, meaningful conversations and leave you with some practical strategies. I'm Kat, I'm your host for today, and my background, basically, I work with people who experience different mental conditions, from psychosis to more common mental health conditions like depression, OCD, anxiety, and all sorts. Basically, I love to have fun. My idea of fun is from watching the trees grow to enjoying experiences that just stretches my mind. So now I was wondering, has anyone ever said this to you? What's the matter? Never mind. What's on your mind? What's on my mind? Doesn't matter. Well, on this show, our attitude is minds matter. And we talk about everything that matters to you about your mind, from emotions, mental health, food and mood, saxophone and musical instruments that might help you, relationships, and basically tips to help you master your mind. Just like Black Lives Matters, Animal Lives Matters, all life matters, we feel that your mind matters as well. So we know from evidence that those who understand and are able to master their mind often lead very happy lives. They're able to serve the ways of lives very well. And what we want to do today is talk about a topic that I think a lot of you have heard of. Now, we don't need Google to tell us that mindfulness is a buzzword now. A lot of people talk about it. And the interest has increased over the years quite rapidly. So what we want to do is talk about how mindfulness can just fit into our everyday lives. Because I know, from a lot of people, my friends and myself, our lives are very full at the moment. We've got a lot going on. How can I fit in another concept or an idea that's going to be helpful for us? So what we want to do today is we're going to tackle 3 areas on how mindfulness might look like when it's integrated into technology, art, and many other different things. Hence, TECHfulness, ARTfulness, and RICHfulness. And we're going to explore them together later on today. So you are in for a treat. I want you to imagine an international buffet, because that's what today is going to be like. You are going to get plenty of food for thought from India, Malaysia, China, and a bit from England as well, where I'm at the moment. And you can take as much as you want. But before we start, I want to welcome you all with open arms to ask as many questions as you want, any comments. We want to make this really interactive, and we want this to be really easy for you, applicable and relevant to your lives as well. So yes, so let's begin. Just going to introduce you 3 awesome speakers today who are also the founders of this show, Minds Matters. And it's my absolute privilege to introduce you to my awesome friends. They have a range of experiences, and they're very, experienced mindful practitioners who have very different backgrounds. So to start with, I'd like to welcome Dr. Koonlin Chan, and also known as Auntie Eunice in England. Hi, Koonlin.
Hi, Catherine. Hi.
Lovely to see you.
Love to see you all.
Oh, that's great. Well, Koonlin. So Koonlin, basically, she's got over 20 years of experience in teaching meditation and mindfulness, and she's practiced over 40 years. I know she doesn't look her age, and she doesn't act her age as well. She's just got so much energy. And I love talking to Koonlin because every time I talk to Koonlin, she's just so inspiring. She's got so many tricks up her sleeves. And she just radiates a sense of peace and calmness, and it's just what I need, really. So next we've got Dr. Joy Bose, who is a software engineer. Hi, Joy.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay, not bad.
Nice to see you. Well, Joy has a few patents to his name. He has, I think he's called a Google Level 10 travel advisor or something. Basically, he travels a lot and Google follows him. And Joy, my friend, he is like a walking encyclopedia, and he does what it says on the tin. He brings a lot of joy to our lives. So I'm really glad that he's with me today. And from Malaysia, truly Asia, we've got Mr. Sherab Wong, who is a very well-loved coach, trainer. Oh, hi, Sherab.
Hi.
Hello, good to see you.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. I don't know. From Malaysia. Hi, from Malaysia.
That's true. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love Malaysia. Well, Sherab, he's a speaker of Eastern and Western metaphysics, but in plain English, he helps us connect with ourselves and bring a lot of peace and laughter to our lives. And sherabwong.com is the website to look into if you're interested in that. So I'm most interested and excited to speak to Sherab today, not just because I know he's a bookworm, as you can tell from his background. He lives in the middle of the library.
A lot of books.
Yeah, but he's very humble, and he tells me that he's a lazy meditator.
Yeah.
So I have to admit, when it comes to making life fun and easy, that is my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from our three guest speakers today, I want to introduce you to another valuable member of our team. We call him Brother Chong. And he's an ex-CIO, very experienced mindful practitioner. Oh, he's coming up. Oh, hello. And he runs spiritual meditations. He's very busy with a lot of volunteer work. Hello, Brother Chong.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hello. So he's really resourceful. And without him, we wouldn't be able to connect with you all.
Yes.
So I'm really glad that
very
you
thankful
got
to
that.
Joy. Yeah.
Brilliant. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I can see Ray is here. Oh my gosh. Hi, Ray. Ray is from Malaysia. He's one of my friends, and he's just an absolute ray, sunshine. He's brilliant. And my dad is here too, so I need to be on my best behavior. Brilliant. Excellent. So so thank you so much for being here today. I was thinking, let's start with Sherab. How are you doing? I know I'm in England, you're in Malaysia. How are things happening over there?
We are still the same. I think the COVID-19 bring us all together. We're in the same boat, and the whole world is connected to this kind of crisis now, actually. Yeah. So I think we're doing not bad actually in Malaysia. Compared to, relatively speaking, although there's a small spike here and there, but relatively we are doing quite well here. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good to hear. I know it's been such an unprecedented, a very challenging time. But then we've seen a lot of amazing, brave, and kindness with frontline carers, parents teaching at home, domestic cleaners all over the world. I know in England, I think you probably know about this already, the veteran, Captain Tom Moore, he raised over £32 million for the National Health Service. He's only 99. And I know in England, they've been funding hotels for homeless people to live in.
Yes.
And when we go out, the government pays 50% of our bills for the food.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. So, but I hear, however, our numbers are still very high, and I hear Malaysia's doing really, really well. It sounds like there's a lot we can learn from Malaysia. Yeah,
not too bad. Malaysia is doing. I think today our death rates is about 1.3%, and then still 6% are active cases. And the recovering rate is quite high, 93%. I mean, we are doing quite well, relatively speaking. Yeah, I think mainly because we have a political crisis. Actually, I think in the month of March, actually, but we managed to put that political thing aside, and then whole country work to fight with the COVID-19. And we're doing well. And then regardless of race and background, we all work together. We got a slogan here called "Kita jaga kita," means we take care of each other. You take care of me, I take care of you. and let's do this together.
Oh,
So that togetherness is the power of a power of Malaysian to fight with this COVID-19. Yeah, I think that's the thing that we can contribute to the world. Yeah.
that's a wonderful slogan. I really love it. That teamwork,
Yeah.
uniting together, putting politics and other things aside. I think it's all connected.
Yes. True.
Yeah. Oh no, brilliant. Well, I just wanted to say hello to Pei Ying as well. I've got a few people here, Nancy, and I've got somebody who's got a really nice long name. Achimentia, probably one of your friends. Welcome to the show. As you can see, you've just joined us. Shara was just telling us how Malaysia's been doing so well by just connecting and uniting together and working on the COVID and all kinds of things as a team.
This crisis is far from over. All parts of the world need to come together as one, and then we can overcome this. Yeah,
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So you were saying about coming together and things like that, because I was thinking a lot of us has experienced a lot of change, hopelessness, and fear. Really, I remember having a cough and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. And basically, I just choke over my drink. So I was really paranoid. And I know that, sometimes during these conditions, you might be living with people that you struggle with, to maybe living on your own. And it's so hard and it's really scary. And I was wondering, Sherab, what exactly is mindfulness to you? And how can mindfulness help us in the midst of all these fears?
I think mindfulness for me, mindfulness, this word consists of two parts, the mind and the fullness, So for me, when the nature of our mind or the quality of our mind, including its beauty, power and love and skillful means, meet with the fullness of life, when these two meets and it become very powerful, so then we call it mindfulness actually, I also have a term called synchronfulness or richfulness, when these two synchronize, the mind and the fullness of life synchronize together, life your life will be enriched, you are in the flow of life, and life is full of possibilities and miracles and blessings and opportunities, Yeah. So when when the quality of mind meet with the fullness of life, for me, that's what we call mindfulness.
That is really interesting. I've actually not heard about that before. So the quality of your mind meets your life.
Yeah.
Okay. And talking about connecting.
Connecting. Yeah. Then these two synchronize. Then the richfulness of life will happen naturally.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of connection. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my interpretation. Normally we call mindfulness is like present moment awareness, living in the present moment, be aware of your body, speech, and mind, and this thing.
Yeah. So I'm really glad to hear that there's actually a different kind of way to look at mindfulness, like a connection rather than just paying attention. To the present as well.
So when everything becomes one, then miracles or healing or will happen naturally.
Yeah. So I was thinking, just seeing that Hong and Baden has joined us as well. Hello, Hong and Baden, awesome people from Malaysia as well. This is like the Malaysia Society. We've got all the best Malaysia. Wonderful.
Someone saying hello, Ray, right? Ray.
Oh, Ray, he's awesome. He knows the best places to travel and the best food.
Okay, good.
Joy has a few fans. That's Nancy with the lol heart and love. Brilliant.
Many people are now, actually.
Yeah. So Pei is really awesome as well. Oh my God, I can't stop talking about these people. They're so brilliant. So Shara, I'm so sorry. I'm just going with the flow as well. You're talking about connection, and I was thinking about how about when you're really scared and you think you're about to die, or you have so much uncertainty. It actually is so scary. You don't know what your future is going to be like. You don't know if you can go out, if you're going to, be a carrier for something, or even just other people being neglected, with cancer and things like that. It's just so scary. How do we use mindfulness and all this connectivity to face fear?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem we have now during this era of COVID-19 is fear, actually, So, but more for me, fear, if Brother Chong can put the slide on, fear is actually a false emotion appearing real for me, FEAR, fear, false emotions appearing real, actually. Yeah, you can see that in your screen there. Yeah. Or emotion you can consider as energy or events or evidences. Yeah. It looks real, but actually it's not real. Okay. The feeling is really real. It looks real, but it's not real. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, Sherab. I've got to pause you there. Sorry, can I interrupt?
Sure,
I'm
sure.
just thinking. That's an interesting acronym. So false emotions appearing real, and you've got other things as well as emotions.
Yes.
Now, my question is, what can you help me understand why it appears real? Because to me, it feels so real. Like when I'm so anxious and scared, I literally want to go to the toilet. I've got sweaty armpits, and
Yes.
I'm just stuttering all the time. And that's just feel really real to me. So maybe if you can help me understand that a bit better, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, in a way that when the things happen, when fear happens to us, right? It feels so real, but actually it's not permanent. This too shall pass. When you want to avoid it or you suppress it, the fight and flight experience will come. To respond, the fight and flight, or you become frozen. Yeah, you don't know what to do. Yeah, so when you struggle with it, then it become more real actually. So, but when you open up yourself and embrace the uncertainty, embrace with the fear, then it goes away. It goes away automatically.
Okay, so are you saying that when we think that our emotions are real, we think that they're permanent?
Yeah, permanent.
They won't change, kind of be there forever.
Yes.
That's a really interesting point there. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one Zen master by the name of Shunjo Suzuki. He says, when fear or problems arise in your life, just open the door of your heart, welcome them to come. Open the front door, open the back door, where the emotion and thoughts come, but just don't serve them tea.
Oh, I like that. So you're
Yeah.
welcoming them, but you're not serving them
Open
tea.
arms, don't serve them tea. They won't stay long. Okay, they won't stay long. When the guests come to your house, you don't serve them the tea, they will leave.
Okay, that's a really interesting concept.
Our problem is that we serve them tea and we like to talk to them and then ask them to say, fight with them and then struggle, so they will stay forever. It looks like forever. Just don't serve them tea, they will just go away like that.
So if we're not avoiding them, is that avoiding them then? If we're not serving them tea?
Correct. Yes, don't serve them tea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
just watch and witness. So if they stay, let it be. If they go, better. So if they come, welcome. Yeah.
So when I feel like I'm going to the toilet, instead of so I just watch my body to see what that feels like. And sort of go with the flow rather than sort of fighting it.
Yes, just be with the fear, and let's see what happens. And if you can, then enjoy the ride. Okay, enjoy the process. But if you
enjoy being scared.
Yeah, being scared. Yeah.
Okay, that's
okay. Yeah, and then maybe you can change that fear into excitement. Who knows?
That's actually interesting when you said that about feeling excitement.
Yeah.
Because when we're scared, our heart beats really fast, but when we're really excited and we're so happy about something, it's the same.
It's the same.
So our physical body is having the same reaction, aren't we?
Yes. How to use fear as excitement? Yeah, then it become excitement. Then you become excited. Yeah.
Okay, so from feeling fearful and scared to recognizing actually this isn't going to be forever. I suppose it makes it less scary. And then the next stage is then you were saying just embracing it, not serving it tea. Can you give me an example of someone who serves fear tea?
I'm fearful. I don't know what to do. I know the same thoughts and feelings keep on lingering, and then you keep on thinking about that. You focus on that, then you become bigger and bigger. It becomes a monster of your life. Yeah. You don't feed the monster with more emotions and thoughts. Just let it be with it, welcome it, and it will disappear by itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it has a nature of impermanence. Yeah. It won't stay long. It won't stay long.
So correct me if I got this wrong. So it sounds like you're saying that when you face some fear, it's really helpful to just acknowledge it, as you're saying, witnessing it. And then instead of then having a monologue, a dialogue, like you're ruminating on that fear.
Yeah. Okay. Just try to be with the fear and see what the message is actually. Fear has something to tell you. Maybe
Oh.
it's a wake up call. Maybe yeah. Just take the message and he goes. He's just like a postman come to your door and he deliver the message to you. Then he'll leave.
Okay, so what you're saying is we can use emotions like fear as information, and as you're saying, like sending us a message, telling us what we can do. Okay, so Sherab has just disappeared there for a second, but I think maybe he's demonstrating that he's letting go of that fear of talking to me. Whilst we're waiting for him, I just wanted to say hi to Mei Fang. Oh my gosh, she's from Taiwan, and I love Taiwan. It's got the best vegetarian food. We've got Christine here. Oh my gosh, she is such a peaceful friend. Hello, Ishan. Haven't met you yet, so you can see your friend Joy. And we've got Clarence as well, who is from Malaysia and is also very popular.
I'm back.
Oh, hello. Hi, Sherab.
I'm back.
You're back.
Because you don't serve me tea, that's why I leave,
Oh, that's a brilliant demonstration. And because
I'm having my tea now. I'm having my tea now.
That's a good idea. I think we all should have a mind for the tea.
Yeah.
So, okay, so it sounds like, so what we're saying is we know that a lot of us can experience these difficult emotions like fear during this time.
Yeah.
But with Sherab saying all we need to do is just acknowledge it, see it like it's sending us a message, but just don't serve it tea. Can you tell us a bit more on how we can respond? Now that we understand fear a little bit more and we know that fear is something that changes, what do we do next?
Next step is to realize that you have a choice, actually. It comes from the same word itself, false emotion appearing real. The next one is to, if you are scared of it, then it becomes, the next one will be like, you should face everything and rise rather than, run away from everything, fear everything and, and without, how to say, you should feel, the next one will be like face everything and rise above it. Yeah. Instead of forget everything and run, normally we try to run away. Yeah, we forget whatever we have been practicing, whatever theory that we have read from the book, and we forget that when we try to run away from that, Yeah. So this is normally we choose this one, subconsciously we choose this, the number one, this strategy actually. And the second one, the second one, or face everything and rise. Yeah. But it derived from the same thing, which is fear, F-E-A-R. So from that fear, the words itself give you two messages, two options. Yeah. And try to understand we always have a choice to choose. Yeah. Even we become choiceless, that's also a choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're choosing not to have a choice as well.
But we have choiceless awareness,
Okay.
Which is the present moment awareness. Yeah. You can have choiceless awareness to realize that you do have a choice. Then we can face everything and rise. Yeah.
And I think we've got Jacqueline here who's been able to summarize this really well, acknowledging our fear and face it.
Yes.
Yeah. Just really short and simple and accept it. Yeah. And
acceptance
I really like
is always the first step,
Okay. So I like how you've got the fear, the spelling of it, to help us understand what fear is, but also to help we can understand how we normally respond and then what we can do differently to accept it. So you were saying, forget about and run away is often a very normal response. And I can see why we do it, because it helps me reduce anxiety in the short run. Yeah, when we avoid something, like if I have a dog phobia or something, I just walk away, leave the dog. But actually, it maintains that fear and anxiety in the long run for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
True.
So I can see how when you say there's two reactions, and often the first thing we do is we avoid it and we sort of try and forget about it. But then actually, if we face it and rise above it, it's actually a more helpful way to do it. And it actually gives us a bit, even just not even doing it, just knowing this and thinking about this is helping me feel that I've got a choice. I have a degree of control, perhaps.
Yes, I think this fear itself become a mantra. When we have a feeling of fear, then think about this fear. Fear is actually false emotion appearing real. And then I have a choice. Should I, face everything and rise, or forget everything and run? Then I choose to face everything and rise. So you derive you become powerful. Even thinking about these words, that you become powerful. Yeah, we can decide on that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Sherab.
So when you face a
really
fear, think about the meaning of the words. Then you become powerful. You can transform the fear almost immediately. Yeah.
That's a really good strategy to have.
Yeah.
Just
It's almost like an NLP. You have registered your mind with the new meaning of fear. You have given your brain some new meaning from the same word, actually. Yeah.
And I was wondering, so what we're saying is, we've got this fear, and we've got this. Even the words itself can turn into something that's so helpful and useful.
Yes.
And I think this is definitely something that I'm going to try myself as well. But I was wondering, I've got a few friends and people who work with children as well. So we've got these strategies. This is something really good for adults or teenagers, play with words. But I'm just thinking about those, who aren't as equipped with words as yet. How can they manage with, the uncertainty, the fear, and is mindfulness just a big thing for adults, or can we, apply it for people who are younger as well? Any suggestions? I was thinking maybe Koonlin. So sorry, I'm just cutting you off there. I feel like, Sherab, but
no problem.
but no, thank you for sharing. It's just like it's just been so inspiring that what you're sharing with me about these strategies. It's just made me think perhaps how can we then also use this mindfulness technique for children as well? And I know that Koonlin has been training. I don't know if you're aware, but Koonlin trains teachers in England as well on using mindfulness with children in schools. So I was thinking, Koonlin, would you be able to share some insight with us on the importance of mindfulness for children?
First of all, I must apologize, maybe because it's my location in China, so somehow the smoothness of this action and the hearing a little bit delayed. Yes, can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
But
can hear you.
I can't hear you too well, but I guess. Anyway, okay, we are talking about how to help children to be mindful, or how to playful with mindfulness. We can't really teach children how to do mindfulness like adults, but we can help them to have some kind of playful games. Through the games, they realize they already attain or experience some level of mindfulness. And say one of the examples is very simple, and how to teach children how to draw with their finger on their finger.
Oh, right. Okay. So, so you're saying that basically it's important to acknowledge that it's okay that we don't need to insert all those adult concepts of mindfulness to children, but they can still incorporate that in their lives. Is that right?
Yeah, through the years development in the West, there are educational organizations that develop many different type of games that children can play as young as 4 years old to 18 years old. So at different ages, there are different games or different techniques to attract them, so that they enjoy. Actually, they enjoy playing it, doing it, and by doing so, they already experience the quietness, the richness of mindfulness, or what they want is to be able to concentrate well, and to be able to feel the curious about their own body and mind.
Okay, so you're saying that it's mindfulness can help children perhaps develop more curiosity and paying attention to their own body and mind. And I know you were putting your hands up there for a second, and it sounds like you wanted to share with us a strategy. Is that right? I was wondering, could you maybe share some of the tips, some of the games that you might use that's not to do with counting or eating raisins and, watching your breath? Would you be able to, tell me a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes, yes. In fact, before the COVID-19, I was teaching at a few schools from primary school to middle school, secondary school. And I've been using the mask already, because using the mask, they can feel their breaths much easier. So they can count their breath much easier before the COVID-19 started. And then I also use the eye mask to cover their eyes. I just play with all kinds of senses without, the normal experience of their senses, how they can experience their own body and mind. And to them, because they don't often discover that kind of experience, so that can be quite fun to them or quite excited to them.
Yeah. No, this sounds really good for me as well, I think. So you're saying kind of like using the different senses. So we can maybe cover your eyes, and then maybe it's kind of like, and then maybe tasting food or something, like enhancing different senses to help you become more aware. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Koonlin, I was thinking, would you be able to, I've got a challenge for you. Would you be able to share with me something that, because you mentioned about 4-year-olds before to me, and I've got an attention of a 4-year-old sometimes. What kind of mindfulness technique we can use? I think you said you were raising your hand or something. I was wondering what that was all about.
I have been trained to teach 4 years old, but I haven't actually really training 4 years old kids. But I think this simple game, I I presume that 4-year-old child can play with this. They can hold up their
Yeah.
excuse me, even adults. Because we don't often touch that part of our fingers, so we have maybe a strange sensation.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yes.
Sorry, Koonlin, to interrupt. Can our audience try this right now? Can we just do it together right now?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How long is this going to take?
Well, 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yes. So go on. Fire away.
So shall we do that? Shall we try that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sherab, are you guys ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
ready. Always ready.
It is called breathing fingers.
Okay.
Our fingers can breathe.
So that's it. Do we need to put a mask on that?
Well, you can imagine. You can imagine by closing your eyes if you like. Yeah. So you hold up one of your palm and open up your fingers. Yes. And then with other hand, with your index finger or whatever finger, but normally index finger is more convenient for most people. It's like drawing, using your finger as drawing on your fingers. So you sit, you make yourself comfortable and relax. Then when we breathe in, we start with the palm. There's a crease on your palm. We start from this area on your thumb. So when we breathe in, it goes up. So you breathe naturally. You don't interfere your breath, the natural rhythm of your breath. So everybody having different pace of breathing. So follow your own breath. Breathe in, going up. Breathe out, coming down. You feel the sensation on the side of your fingers. Up, breathe in, breathe out, down. Breathe in, up, breathe out, down. Breathe in, up, Breathe out, down. Breathe in, up. Breathe out, down, down, down. And then you come to a second round again. Yeah. So that's very simple, but if you really concentrate on your breathing, so your breathing pace and your finger movements and also the sensation that you're feeling, they are all together. So your breathing also drawing, yeah, and your fingers, the sensation of your fingers and your breathing become one. So in that way, you can concentrate on your breathing by itself and also feeling the sensation of your touching on your fingers, right?
Yeah, it feels like a bit like a massage now.
You can stop any minute during your work and play this game, or you don't have to hold it out. For adults, you can do it, anywhere convenient that people can't see you and people don't see, don't know what you're doing, but you're actually it's just like some people doing the mantra, they're using the beat, right? They're counting the beat. But they're counting the beat is one by one. It's a bit boring for kids, yeah, because it's all the same. The fingers are different, and so going up and down is like more exciting, like going up the mountain and coming down from the mountain. Yeah, and
Koonlin, have you teach your children to do it on their toes?
Pardon?
On their toes.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, right?
I can tell you.
Very playful, Have you tried that?
At school, if I ask them to lie down to do body scan, and all the especially the older kids, they find it, so they try their best to avoid near somebody's feet because the smell is quite incredible. Some of them, so nobody would like to come near to somebody's feet.
Okay.
It's too close together. The feet are too close together to do that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
you feel itchy also.
And you have to clean your feet properly and with
they'll laugh together, when they do it on their toes,
Yeah.
Not for older kids.
Okay, well, maybe, that helps people then learn to maybe wash their feet a bit or be mindful of the smell. I don't know. But hopefully, it sounds like Tawansi or Nancy, she's given us really nice feedback. She said she's found it perhaps quite relaxing. Yeah. So I'm not sure about the toe part. That got a little bit funny, but I'm fine with the toe part. But when I was doing this, I did find it quite relaxing.
You can experiment later, and give us feedback on how you feel if you try on the toes,
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's a good idea. And just while we're on this, just
tickly, right?
Yeah.
Tickly your feet.
So that's an interesting sensation to sort of maybe, to feel as well. But just whilst we're on this, just wanted to invite the listeners to ask any questions. Just fire any questions that you have on your mind. There's no such thing as a silly question. And do share your comments with us because we want to know if these are actually effective. And perhaps, not everything is everyone's cup of tea. So it's nice to hear that feedback. So Nancy's just said, it gives us a focus on the senses, the hands at least, she said. That's really nice. And I know Cher's been very, creative, looking at other different body areas like toes, which is more socially appropriate to mention. Yeah. Very good. Oh, that's lovely. So thank you so much, Koonlin, for that. And I was thinking, and I suppose if hands weren't very convenient for people, I suppose, would it work if we just found an object, say a flower, and sort of trace a breath around it? Do you think that would work?
I I can't hear that well. Can you repeat again?
Yes, of course. So I was thinking, for those who don't have hands that are very convenient to use their hands or toes,
It's
you know,
convenient
not
to have.
convenient to use your toes during work. Maybe Sherab works with open toes. I don't know. Probably does yoga and put his feet just right behind his shoulders. But just for those who aren't, you know, not very convenient to use their hands, can they just maybe use an object? Find a nice object, maybe a flower or a cup, a mug or something, and trace their breath around it. Would that work?
Well, I have developed this mindful breathing drawing. Breathing drawing is also quite simple. Then you use one hand with your pen, any pen.
Oh, hold on. This sounds really interesting, Koonlin. Can I pause you there for a second?
You can try to do that. You can use a big paper or small paper. But if your paper is small, you have to be quite mindful to draw your zigzag or your graph, your breathing.
Oh,
Much
Koonlin.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds really amazing. So hold on. I know you've got a lot of juice to share with us. Just before we move on to that, just wanted to let you know that Ishan, I'm sorry if I couldn't pronounce the name, just wanted to thank you, Koonlin, and they're going to try teaching this to their children. Oh, 6 and 3. Oh, yeah. And do let us know if it works. And maybe your children have found something different as well, different creative ways to do that.
Somebody's going to try to teach his child, 3 years old.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure they can. And it'll be so interesting to find out about that. So I was thinking, sorry to to interrupt there. So Koonlin, you were saying, see, this is a good thing about Koonlin. She just doesn't waste time. She's just got these really nice tips to share with us all the time. And she doesn't need to breathe in between as well. She's so Koonlin, you were saying about piece of paper and a pen. Is this something that the audience can try at the same time right now as well? Or is this something that we have to do like
if you can sit a little bit slower, that will be better for me.
Good tip.
Interferes.
Yes, that's a really good tip. I do tend to speak a little bit too fast. So, Koonlin, would you be able to share with us the technique that you're about to talk about? I just wanted to check, is this something that the audience can do right now as well?
Yes, all the techniques everybody can do, including a child and adults and elderly people, as long as they can move their hand. Or if they can't move their hand, they can use their feet.
Sherab is the king of feet. Okay, so Koonlin, okay, what do our listeners need right now then to join this exercise and this fun activity?
Yes, everybody. Are you
Would you
asking
like
me
to
to show?
Yeah. So when just before you're showing us the trick, can you tell me what I need to try to do it with you, if that's all right? What do we need? What do I need right now?
Any pen, any drawing media. It doesn't matter, a pen or drawing stick or anything can make some marks.
Oh, maybe my hand as well. Yeah. Okay.
And then a piece of paper, any kind of paper or board or anything that you can put the mark on.
Okay. Yes? Just to let you know, I can't draw to save my life. Is that okay?
You can't what?
I can't draw to save my life. Would that be all right? Okay, so I'm going to give that a miss because I don't want people to remember the talk about me not being able to draw. So Koonlin, can you please? Would you like to continue? I'm quite interested to know what the next step is.
The next step is you have to feel your breathing. Okay. Can you feel your breathing in and breathing out? Your exhale and inhale. And it's the same way when you're doing your fingers up and down. Instead of doing your finger up and down, you're doing it on paper. Instead of drawing on your finger, you're drawing on paper. So you're still doing the movement up and down. So when you breathe in, going up, and breathe out, coming down. So up and down, up and down. You can then, for 1 minute, you can draw the graph, and then you can count how many tips of your drawing. Then you know how many times you breathe, how many breaths per minute. So you can do that by also training your mind to be present, and also you can see your artwork, the breathing drawing.
Okay, so I'm so nervous. My breathing looks like this, Koonlin. Does this look right?
There's no right and no wrong. As long as going up and down, it can be any shape. It can be big or small. As long as you can.
Cat, your drawing is like a signature of Donald Trump.
I don't think I can carry that name.
A very confused state of mind will do that kind of drawing. Okay. Just kidding.
He's my favorite on TV.
Okay, on TV. Yeah, sure.
So
you can do it something like that.
Okay.
If you have a big paper, and you can do it very small like this. You can do it very small like this if you have a small paper. Can you see that?
Okay.
Or so you can keep changing as long up and down. You can become different shape like this.
Okay, so I was wondering, is that the only instructions that we need, just to follow your breath, just draw however your breath takes you?
Yes, just matching the pace of your breaths.
Do you have any?
You can turn the paper, you can turn your finger, or whatever you like. You can make it more creative.
Okay.
But as long as you go up and down.
So could you maybe share some? I don't know if Joy or Sherab has done one before, but I don't know. I've not done this before.
There are some drawings I post to Sherab.
Oh, so maybe Brother John.
Yeah,
have you seen some drawing?
Some mindful drawing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, some mindful drawing.
Because I know Joy actually took a training with you and did that as well. Joy, would you be able to share your experience? Wow.
It's a beautiful painting. We love. It's a painting. This is a mindful painting. It's not mindful drawing, or drawing and painting at the same time.
So that was somebody's breath pattern. Is that right?
This is a painting rather than a drawing, because I gave them quite a period of time, and I guide them to be relaxed, and also try to be in a meditative mood. Try to go inside their mind, or by either close their eyes and meditate for a while. And then they have their colors, or whether they have colors or no colors, it doesn't matter, some media in front of them. Then they have the feeling to choose what kind of color to start with. Yes? And once they choose the color and what kind of shape they like to paint from their mind, from their emotion at the time, and no thinking. The most important, how to guide them without thinking. That means you try to not to have preconceived ideas before you paint. It's totally through your unknown mind, not knowing mind. Yeah. So whatever it comes out, and just be brave, be courage. Yeah. And this is a mindful drawing. This is a drawing. This drawing, there's a rule that your pen cannot leave the paper. So follow the flow of your breathing, whether you prefer to draw faster or slower or more mindful. Then you keep drawing by not leaving your paper until you feel like to stop. And this is a mindful drawing.
So that's really interesting. So Koonlin, so you're saying is, what you're saying is that the way to do a mindful drawing is by, first of all, following your breath and just letting it take you however direction it goes. And the second one is to not have your pen leave the paper until you've finished.
Yes. That's another type of drawing. So there are different techniques. The first, like this one, is the drawing for your breath, and you can keep doing 1 minute, another minute. Each minute it create a pattern. Then all together create I don't know whatever pattern. So we try not to care about the appearance of the drawing. Just use your heart, use your emotion, your whatever you feel like at the time. The most important is forget about drawing as a drawing.
So it sounds like you're breaking out of the concepts of, thinking or expectations. And as you're saying, when you're talking about not lifting the pen off the piece of paper, it reminds me of a Buddhist monk, Venerable Xingyun from Taiwan, who actually, because he's got diabetes, and he didn't want to stop promoting, his service and the work that he thinks really important. He's actually been doing calligraphy, which he calls one-stroke calligraphy, and he doesn't lift his paint, because he can't see with the diabetes. His he's got some visual impairment, so he does the same as well, and he just like writes these beautiful words without lifting the paintbrush. And I was wondering, maybe that's quite similar as well. But yeah,
similar but not similar, because this kind of technique hasn't been trained before. We don't want to apply any skillful technique. We don't need that. The more what we train before, the better we can draw our emotion at the time. We explore our subconscious mind in a way. So if you have to be skillful, that is not really drawing from your subconscious mind. It's drawing from your trained mind, which is quite different. Like some people has a lot of training in Chinese painting. It is very difficult for them to leave that kind of skill and technique. So it's been a formal it's been restricted in a way to explore their subconscious level of whatever.
Well, thank you.
What I mean? So
that's
the
really
more, if you tell me you don't know drawing or painting, that's wonderful. You are the best person or the best candidate to try.
Well, Nancy there just said very cool. So I think she agrees with you.
Sand drawing.
And
one of the drawing was done by Joy. You miss it. The one in the swallow, the swallow, like the swallow drawing. That's one.
Very neat and
not this one. The previous one. You asked Joy what was your feeling at the time. No. Just the drawing of the
spiral.
The spiral one.
Yeah, the next to next.
The one with the date on.
It's okay.
Not this one.
The one
not
with the
this
date
one.
on. Yeah.
The other one.
We got to ask him. We got to ask Joy how he felt at the time. Not this one. After this. This. Yeah, this one. That's Joy's one.
Joy, how did you feel? What was your experience?
I mean, my feeling was that like all the drawing assignments which Koonlin did, this makes you feel relaxed, and it also forces you to be mindful of your paint because of your drawing, because you cannot be stressed or anything when you're actually doing something, when you're doing the activity. So in that sense, it's quite good. And also, like this is a kind of rangoli, which in India is quite a traditional kind of drawing. But the only difference is that I did not pick my pen out of the paper. That's the only thing. And it's just like you're forced to be mindful because you have to keep the rules of it in a way. So so that was very relaxing. All of the drawing things were quite relaxing for me personally, at least.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Joy. And I was thinking, so thanks a lot, Koonlin, for sharing us so many techniques. You've got this, the finger breathing, we've got the drawing side, and just not needing to use our trained mind. And I was thinking about Joy's experience of, using these drawings. And I was thinking, because a lot of us are working from home, or if we're not, we're working in quite stressful environments. I was wondering, Joy, how has it been for you? And have you been doing lots of drawings while you're working, or how do you, deal with mindfulness when, use mindfulness, when you're at work, or yeah.
So, I mean, there are a few tips that are possible to improve your experience when you're working. The thing is, like, we don't choose. This COVID is not something that we have chosen, but we are forced to work from home because of it. So, because we are spending so many hours in front of the computer or in front of whatever devices you're using, so it is useful to actually try to be mindful when we are working with tech, because if you're not mindful, of course you can have lots of other health kind of problems, right? You can have stress, you can have a
So,
back pain or something like that. So anyway,
okay.
mindfulness is required,
Okay.
but
So
there are
you're
a few
saying that,
ways in which, yeah.
yeah. Sorry, you were saying that, being at home and often working with technology can be quite harmful, maybe to our backs, or have these adverse health
Yeah.
effects. And you were saying mindfulness is really important. Can you share with me how can we use mindfulness to help us work better at home then?
One of the techniques is that when you are in front of a computer, when you're working, from time to time, try to bring your attention to the present moment. Try to bring your attention to the breathing and even to your posture. Like sometimes, in front of a computer, we kind of slouch. We move to our neck is not straight, but is like slouched, or else our hands are in a very wrong angle.
Mm.
So the correct angle is to have exactly at 90 degrees, but sometimes we may do it wrongly. So we can bring I think Thich Nhat Hanh, one monk I knew, his view is that we should have something like a mindfulness bell or some reminder to bring us back to the present moment from time to time, like every half an hour, every 1 hour. And also
Ah,
there are also some apps which we can use. If you go to the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, and search for the apps, then you will find there's something called Insight Meditation Timer. There is Headspace. There is Calm Mindfulness app. There are quite a few apps. Also, there are something like even Chrome extensions are there. There's one Chrome extension I like quite a lot, which is called the Bell of Mindfulness, which basically you set it to a time, and every 15 minutes or whatever time you've set, it'll just ring a bell, and that can be a reminder for you to come back to your current moment and come back to your
oh,
breathing, for example. That is quite
okay.
helpful. Then there's
So,
Rangoli, there is some sounds app, a few of this kind of
oh,
apps are there
that's
also in
that's
the Windows
so
Store.
many. So
Yeah.
sorry, Joyce. I was thinking. So what kind of stuck with me was when you talked about the bell.
Mhm.
So I suppose, and you were saying, so this doesn't have to take long, right? So it's just you set a certain time during the day, like
Yeah.
every 45 minutes, and whenever you hear the bell, what do you do, and how long do you spend doing what you were saying about the breathing?
Just for maybe a minute or so, when you hear the bell, just use the bell as a reminder to come back to your present moment,
Right.
and
Okay.
try to be mindful of your posture as well, not just the breathing. And also the breathing, because it kind of grounds you
Mm.
to your body rather than to the technology that is in front of you, I guess. So that can be
Ah.
a useful tool in a way,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
also your emotions if you want as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna see. So I'm gonna try and set a timer to have this
Mm.
bell sound. Then when I hear the bell, I'm just gonna save that 1 minute to
Yeah.
just be however I am and focus that attention on the breath and the posture. And I suppose that doesn't take too long. And I suppose it doesn't
Sure.
really, take me away from work or things like that. And it's easy to fit in. So I thought you were going to tell me to sit, like, meditate or something. So no, that's really helpful. And you mentioned quite a few apps as well.
Yeah.
I know you said Insight Timers. That's something I use because it's such a wide range of resource and it's for
Yeah.
free. what other ones would you recommend? Like, how do we know which ones to use? Because there's so many out there.
I think that it's a hit and try. Like, you shouldn't have too many apps because that can be an extra distraction, to be honest. So I would suggest
Right.
like install say three or four maximum, and then see which two you like best. Like, use it for a month or for a few weeks, and just see which one you prefer. Maybe you like Calm, maybe you like Headspace, maybe you like Insight Timer, maybe you like the mindfulness app, maybe you like Buddhify, maybe you like there's so many apps out there. If you just Google that in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, just search for either mindfulness or meditation. There are quite a few
Okay.
apps, so it can be a real help, really. But of course, don't
Yeah.
overdo it. And of course, there are some other things you can do away from tech also, which means, for example, you can set, especially when you're working from home, set some boundaries around tech. Means that set a certain time or a certain space in your house where you will not use tech, like in the special room where you meditate, or between morning, first time you wake up, you will not touch your phone until you are like ready. And similarly, before you go to bed, you will just recollect the day, recollect everything that happened, and only then, and you will not, of course, touch tech for that time. Also, when we are actually interacting with tech, for example, you're working and you're sending an email or you're in a chat or something, then try to be mindful of the emotions you're going to cause to the other person. Sometimes we get too much involved in it, right? It's a bit, seductive. It's like you almost get caught up in the thing, even when we're using social media like Facebook or whatever. So it's good to even be mindful of our emotions. Are we becoming too angry? Are we hurting the other person when we are either sending the chats or text, or even if you are reading news, some bad news about COVID or about the political news or whatever? Then try not to be too much into it. Like, try to be more mindful of yourself. And also, like I said, for
Yeah.
posture, try to be in a straight posture, because you may get carpal tunnel syndrome if you're not careful about your hands. If your hands are
Yeah.
not in the right angle, you may get some
The
those are tight too
shoulders.
much. You can get, and
Mm.
shoulders as well, of course. So there are a lot of things which you
Yeah.
can be careful about.
So Joy, so what you're saying is that it'll be helpful to be aware that we use a lot of technology in our lives, especially at work, for some people working at home. And the way to help ourselves be more mindful and relaxed is by having some of these bells to
Yeah.
help us remember to pause and to look at our posture and our mind, and to perhaps use some of these apps. But what I'm hearing is that you're also saying that whilst we're using the technology, whilst we're texting, to not maybe take it for granted that we know what's happening, but to recognize what emotions it might bring to us. Because for me, if I see somebody face to face or I hear their voice, I quickly think about, oh, I wonder if they're listening to me and how they're feeling, and I was thinking, oh, maybe how they're making me feel. It feels more natural to do that. But when it comes to technology, I tend to forget the body language or things like that. Like I forget to look at your faces now, actually, sometimes. So I suppose, are you saying that I need to maybe from time to time ask myself how I'm feeling or thinking whilst I'm typing an email or things like that?
So be mindful of your mind and your emotion. What is your state of mind? Are you too angry? Are you too, scared about your work or something? Like, sometimes I also feel that, I have to perform and I'm not doing enough in my job. And what will I tell my manager or something like that? We're all anxious, right? Are we going to get a good appraisal or not? So be mindful about it. And if you are in too much fear, then do as Sherab was saying, try to face it and do it properly,
Thank you. And we've got here, as you talk about all these different strategies, we've got Irene, who's very popular in England as well. Very resourceful lady. She's saying thanks and for sharing these wonderful ideas. I'm adding wonderful in here now. These ideas and methods. Any chance to know about any similar methods that the NHS, the National Health Service, that they suggest to help people with their minds? Well, that's a really good question, because I've been working with the NHS for quite a while now, and perhaps maybe Sherab or Koonlin can share something, or in India as well, what they do in their health services. But for the NHS point of view, a lot of the psychologists, they've been actually integrating mindfulness in kind of professional practice. So what I mean by that is in hospitals, well, because I worked in a mental health hospital, what we do is we have a handover meeting every day where we talk about our patients, what's happening, the updates. But before we do that, we're starting to develop a routine where we spend 2 or 3 minutes to in a group to do some mindfulness together. And the kind of things that we tend to do are very similar to what Joy was saying in terms of looking at your emotions, but it's more of a guided meditation or guided relaxation techniques where we learn to just place gentle, very gentle attention onto the body sensations, to just how we're feeling as well, and just sharing that. So not just even practicing yourself, just practicing with other people and mindful of other people's reaction. Like I remember somebody farted and nobody laughed, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. They're very concentrating really well on their own breathing and body. But it's just really good to normalize it and actually help people realize mindfulness is something that we all do actually in our everyday lives, paying attention to things. All it is about paying attention to ourselves now in a more non-judgmental way, so that when staff have this kind of refreshing attitude and feeling, we're more likely to feel helpful and hopeful and, I don't know, prepared to deal with whatever is in front of us. I think maybe in China they're starting to do something similar as well, or I don't know, in Malaysia or in India.
I think for me, I think we can integrate mindfulness with some dynamic practice like tapping. I find emotional freedom technique is quite useful because it can calm you down almost quite immediately. Just tapping in a certain area of your body.
Emotional freedom technique. What's that?
Yeah, EFT actually. It's
EFT.
like EFT, emotional freedom tap. They call it tapping now. So it's just tapping in a certain area of the body, and we repeat certain words. Saying something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can do a mantra, a prayer, or whatever. Affirmations. You can do that. Yeah.
Because this reminds me a bit like acupuncture, where they press certain pressure points on your body to generate some, blood flow.
Yeah. Just like when you fall down, the most immediate response that you like to touch your body. You like to protect yourself. So there's body. You touch yourself with finger. It's a self hug actually. When Koonlin talk about it's like hugging your inner child. You need to feel connected to your inner being. Inner innocence, that kind of thing. So you touch your body and calm yourself down with a certain tapping technique. I think we can Google it, and YouTube a lot of it.
And perhaps we can invite you to
and tapping.
To talk more about it another time
maybe,
as well.
Maybe, sure.
More detail and demonstrate.
True.
Because that reminds me, when you talk about hugging things, that's what we do with the post-traumatic stress disorder clients as well that we work with. The hugging, the physical movement. Is very important.
Because now we cannot hug other people. You need to hug yourself.
That's one technique I did also.
Yeah.
It's very quick by your left hand on top of your heart.
Yeah. In Malaysia, we greet other people with this
hand, and the right hand on your lower abdomen. So immediately you have your, the largest area of your palm touching your whole body. Then you immediately you can feel your whole body, your whole being as one together. So that is the fastest way to get back to yourself, your inner self, and to be together with yourself. And immediately you can feel at this very moment, and how to comfort yourself.
This reminds me of...
We are also teaching kids to do that as well.
Okay. These remind me of like a really what we call in cognitive behavioral therapy grounding techniques, grounding you to the present moment. And I can see from our chat that we've got Anthony who's been suggesting singing bowl meditation as well. I think actually that actually ties in with what Irene is saying at the bottom.
Sound therapy is almost like a sound therapy,
Yes. Yeah.
But I got to clarify here, like a lot of people think that singing bowl come from Tibetan Buddhism. Actually, has nothing to do with Tibetan tradition. Actually, it's a creation. It's a New Age creation. Yeah, New Age creation. But but nevertheless, it is useful and powerful. Yeah, you can use that as a sound therapy.
Yeah, no, it works amazing because I know
Yes.
Irene is asking about, how about people with special needs or mental health issues? I think if you want to help those who have different kind of learning needs as well, Koonlin's tricks for the children, the drawing techniques, as Shara's saying, the tapping to the kind of the sound therapy and music therapy, those work quite effective for those who might be quite preoccupied with their different mental conditions.
Yeah.
And we've got Christine here as well, who's said thank you everyone for the insightful input and agreeing that yes, it is difficult to assess when you're reading texts and emails. Yes, that's a really good point, because when Joy was talking about being mindful with work and technology, I think it's good that Christine pointed out that actually it's more to do with the tone of voice and body language, which is something that we miss out with the text. We can be like, oh my God, I think he's flirting with me, to actually know he was just making a factual statement. So that is a really interesting point there. Thank you, Christine. So looking at this, we've just been talking about quite a wide range of things. So we went from fear to looking at the acronyms to help us understand, accept it, and not serve fear tea, to looking at the drawings, where it's all about drawing things that aren't drawings, just following your breath, but it's a very good technique and it's playful, following your fingers, your toes, whatever it is, something that's quite fun. It sounds like mindfulness doesn't have to be something that's so serious and you just need to be on your cushion. To Joy sharing with us really nicely, just having that 1 minute bell sound will do when you're working. It doesn't have to take up people's time. And then we've got these new interesting topics, which I think we can explore more as well, about the tapping and the sound therapy. I was thinking, Joy mentioned something that I think some of our audience might share. I don't know. Maybe our audience have really good tips to share with us as well. But Joy was mentioning something about worries, which is something that I relate to quite a lot. So it could be like things that I feel like I can't have a lot of control of. So for example, politics, we won't go into too much detail, or just different opinions. Or when I'm at work and people criticize me, I wake up and this is what they say to me, and these different monologues and dialogues, and I don't know, just happening throughout the day with people that we meet, that can be so upsetting and just makes me want to cry or feel really frustrated. I don't know if any of you, maybe Sherab or whoever, might be able to suggest how can we use mindfulness, or what technique is there to help us deal with people who are so annoying. And, these thoughts are on our mind, are playing on our mind, reminding us how annoying some people can be.
I think in Tantric Buddhism, we talk about the three aspects of a being, which is a body, body, speech, and mind, actually. So body is what, like Joy told us just now, is your posture has to be straight, because when you're straight, then your chi inside your channel will be smoothly moving, So your body has to be straight. And then also, of course, some mudra and some physical gesture you can use on that. And the second one is the speech, the words that we talk to ourselves. Our monologue, inner monologue, is quite powerful as well. So we need to be aware of our inner dialogue. Actually, it's a conversation between ourselves and our inner child. So we need to be aware of that. What kind of word are we using? Is it positive or negative? Yeah, we are constantly having this kind of dialogue with our emotions and thoughts. So we need to be mindful about our speech as well. So I find quite useful if we are mindful about our language, or the words that we are using when we talk to ourselves.
So, for example, like I want to do really well on this, but I have a deadline. I'm too busy.
So you can change the sequence of the words. See, just now you see. Can you say that again, Kat? I want to do well.
So, I want to do well. I want to have fun and do well. But I'm just so busy. I have too much work. I have so many deadlines, really. And
so that you change the sequence of the words. You say that I have so many deadlines. I have to rush for many things, but I still can do well on my current job. It's the same thing, but you immediately change the energy. Yeah. So you just change the sequence. The back one you put in the front, and the front you move it to the back. So you immediately shift the energy of your language, of your speech. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Every time you say something to yourself, you restructure your language, restructure your sentence. That you
Okay.
immediately feel, almost immediately you feel, yeah, there's a upliftment, there's a shift of energy. Yeah, try that. So every thought you have, anything that you feel, anything that you have in your mind, immediately put it into one sentence and then change the sequence of the sentence. But you got to be mindful in doing this exercise, do that mindfully, and slowly and slowly, by and by, your habitual way of saying things will be changed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, first of all, to be aware of the speech that's going on in our mind, because it sounds like it's quite powerful.
Yeah, or the feelings that you're having now.
All
Just
right.
feel
Okay.
it, and express it in words.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the but, then it shift, then change again.
Okay, so just rephrasing the sentence in our words
Yeah, the
could
sequence
help
of
us then change our feelings, the way we feel about things.
Yes. Make that a habit. Whenever you have a negative experience or negative thoughts, just do it. Say it and then change the sequence. Then
Okay. Yeah. So that ties in quite closely to what we do in cognitive behavioral therapy, where it's about changing the way you think.
yes.
And the kind of thought process. I mean, not specifically in what you were saying in terms of changing the sequence of the words. So that'll be something I'd like to ask you more about later on as well. Okay, so yeah, no, that's really interesting. So I suppose that makes me think about how perhaps it's not about changing our feelings directly. So in order to change our feelings, actually we can do these other things indirectly, which then changes our feelings. So instead of trying to work on getting rid of our anxiety or worries and upset feelings, it's more about then looking at our thoughts and how we address them, change those words, and then naturally our feelings will improve. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because our words has power, Yeah. Words has power, There's energy there. So use our words as a carrier of the energy, then let mindfulness happen by itself rather than directly doing the mindfulness practice.
Yeah.
Be mindful of your speech and let that speech bring mindfulness into your being. So it's kind of like a skillfulness.
Yeah. So I like how you've sort of split up actually today in talking about mindfulness. It isn't just about a cushion. It's looking at fitting it into your body. You were saying like joy, the posture,
posture and your
and
speech.
Yeah.
Before you go into the mind, so it's body, speech, and mind 3 in 1. So I call this the trinity of mindfulness. Rather than working on mind itself, you put your speech into it, you put your physical presence into it. Then when these 3 combine together, it is a very powerful tool. Because our essence is 3 aspects: body, speech, and mind.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. And I was thinking we've got some comments from our audience. We've got here Irene or Waylin saying, suggesting a simple technique. It's called hoovering technique and theory. Be natural, peaceful, mindful, and regaining strength and reward. So, okay, then thank you. And you're wishing us luck as well. Hoovering technique. Is anybody aware
I know of havering technique. There is one which Paul McKenna tries to use a lot. It's a kind of hypnosis where you kind of do like this.
Yeah.
It's havering, I believe.
Havering.
Maybe that is similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically kind of do like that, and then you move your eyes in a certain way, and you have a certain thought to think about, and that brings you a lot more relaxation. Maybe that is similar to that.
Okay.
You can Google it, havering technique.
We'll look into that and maybe share that as well. That's really interesting. Thank you, Irene. So, but I do like that, simple, natural, just be natural, just be yourself. I know it's really hard to be ourselves sometimes, but these are really nice concepts. And we've got Anthony saying, focusing on steps while walking alone after leaving your job on desk or kitchen. So perhaps are you saying more like, this reminds me of walking meditation, but it doesn't have to be called walking meditation. But I think that's quite nice. Just I haven't actually really paid much attention on my steps when I walk to and from my study room and the kitchen and things like that. So that sounds like a really good technique to use just to help ourselves be mindful. We've got Ishan, Mr. Wong. How can one feel better about something which doesn't have one's control over by rephrasing a monologue? So I'm thinking what he might be asking, Sherab, is
you know, how can you feel better when you can't control it? You know, for example, somebody behaving in a certain way, maybe that's something that we can't control. How can then we control how we feel by rephrasing the monologue?
I think first you have to accept it, try to accept that you are not comfortable with that kind of event or situation, and then rephrase just the technique that I told you just now. Just rephrase it, the sequence. Just restructure the sequence will do. Maybe like, okay, can Ishan give us an example that what he's not comfortable about specifically so that we can.
That's a good idea. So just while Ishan's writing something down, just want to say thank you to Elliot, who's reminded me. He said, attaining the rainbow before our eyes. Thank you for reminding me that my son was actually quite reflective. Elliot's another very experienced mindful practitioner, very knowledgeable, and it'd be lovely to have him on the show as well.
Absolutely.
He's very popular. And we've got, Irene was talking about hoovering. Oh my gosh, I love Irene. She's so good at it. Okay, what she means by cleaning. Okay. I think this is a theory that Irene can put her name to. Cleaning using the Hoover. Oh, we call it a Hoover in England. Sorry, so that's what she meant when we talk about the hoovering technique. So I think she's suggesting that we can use any activity that we use to be mindful, like when we're cleaning up, when we're washing the dishes, perhaps. So that's really helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
So we're just waiting for Ishan to perhaps have a think about an example to share with us.
Yeah.
On how to feel better. I don't know if anybody else has any questions that they might want to ask before we sort of finish off. Like, we're not going to finish it right now, but I think we've got a few more minutes. How long are we doing this for again?
Maybe we can extend it maybe 9:45 if there's any question.
Okay, yeah. So, you know what? Brother Chong's given us a really good example to work at. So, for example, like the COVID, I don't know if Ishan might be able to relate to that, if that's what he means. That's something that we can't control in some ways, the spread of the virus. Can you get it? Yeah. So how do we rephrase our monologue around our anxiety around COVID? That's something that we can't really have direct control over sometimes, the pandemic of it in terms of the control.
I think first is if you want to immediately uplift your emotion, maybe you should feel grateful for that, Because of COVID, then we have this gathering here. We get this online Zoom meeting and, StreamYard or whatever, Something good must be there, I remember that one of my teacher by the name of Reverend Abiyana, he wrote a very a nice poem, He said, in the black, there is some white. In the dark, there is some light, In the wrong, there is some right. And in the blind, there is some sight. So it's like the life is like a yin and yang, Why we feel fearful and painful? Because there is a joy, there is a comfort, there is a courage, there's a love. So we are, life is a whole package of things, We have the epidemic, it's a disaster, it's a crisis, but we can rise upon, we can transcend that and become more, whatever couldn't kill you, make you stronger,
I thought you were going to sing that for us now. Okay.
Well, quite often I will try to, if you cannot transform the difficulties at the time, I would just leave it, just keep the unknown. And that is one of the quickest technique is either back to your breathing, whatever you used to practice in your daily life, you use that technique that you often use and come back to that point. So for me, because I study Chinese medicine and also practice Tai Chi and Qigong, so I always come back to my lower abdomen, where is the Dantian area. In the Chinese medicine theory, we believe that area is like the generator of the car. This is your original chi of your whole body. So if your mind can always come back to that point without without closing to your heart, which is more emotional, or your head is more not mindful, but thoughts, a lot of thoughts, yeah. So you get away from your thinking, get away from your emotions, and come back to this deep inside and your core energy. You call it core energy, and that can stabilize your whole being.
Okay, so
yeah.
So that sounds really helpful there, Koonlin. So you're saying that, you know, during difficult times, instead of investigating and trying to problem solve it immediately, because I know there are a lot of people very effective, they want to solve the problem immediately, analyze everything.
What to do at the time.
Just to like
what to do at the time.
Yeah. So then it's like coming back to yourself, to your body, grounding yourself. So that's a really good technique to look at. And I was thinking, looking at what Sherab was saying as well, aside from using that, some people like to use dialogues and maybe change their perspectives by looking at different angles of that. So even though that situation might be so uncertain or, you know, scary, you can always look at other elements that can happen. So
I think whatever skill we are using is often linked to our profession. Like, because Sherab is a writer, is a translator, so he's very skillful in words and all the connotation.
That's a good point.
But we are not. I'm a visual artist, basically, and also a therapist. So I will be to my body, like the anatomy of my body, rather than using words or sometimes I use art because my background used to be a graphic designer, a visual artist. So we have our individual skill, our
that's a really important point, Koonlin. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I think that's so important to recognize that everybody has really different backgrounds and different learning styles. And that's what I love about these shows and inviting you all up, because you're all very different. And I love it. I love the, you know, it's like having a bit of a mixture of everything, and it's just so inspiring. But just before we finish as well, we're not going to finish just right now. I keep saying that. Sorry. We've got some really helpful comments from our listeners. So Nancy likes your quote, Sherab. So what I'm going to do, we're going to write the quote down on Facebook afterwards. Would that be all right, Sherab?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
So Anthony's asked a question as well. So we're going to come back to that, because Ishan's just been able to now give us the example that he wanted us to talk about. And just before we go into that, just wanted to acknowledge that Christine's mentioned that our strength lies in the ability to walk away. Wow, so we might come back to that afterwards. Okay, that sounds like a really good thought. So, Ishan, so for example, I have a mean boss, and I can't change my company or boss. And most of the time I have to deal with him or her, and it affects my mental health and relationship with others in general. I'm not surprised. Okay, so because most of the day I don't feel good. No, that sounds really stressful. Sherab, would you be able to offer us any advice around that?
A simple one would be this, you know, I want to feel good, but I have a mean boss, right? Yeah. So you change the sequence in it.
Have a partner or a friend,
Yeah, whatever, you know, because he's so bad and it makes me feel uncomfortable and angry. So although I have a mean boss, but I still can feel good about myself. Yeah, although I have a bad company or bad friends, but I can still feel positive about my life. Almost immediately you feel strengthened or uplifted by these words. Yeah, it's the same thing actually, without denying the fact, but you just change the sequence. The but is in between. So you just put the negative one at the front and then positive one at the behind. So you feel better immediately. Yeah. Just keep on doing that. Yeah. Keep on doing that to yourself. Keep on saying that. Although I'm having a bad boss, but I still can feel good about my life and my work. Yeah.
So what you're trying to say is, from what I'm hearing, is that I trust Ishan, and a lot of people have very good problem-solving skills and are doing something practical to improve their situations. But sometimes, just by having a different state of mind, a different thought can help us then improve that 2 seconds of how we feel, which could then develop a bit more later on, because then we could find different ways to work with the boss or help the boss become not as mean and unhelpful, maybe.
True. Yeah. And another practice will be something to deal with your feelings, you know. I mean, if you can, you try to send love and good feeling to your boss. We call it metta in Theravada Buddhism, you know. Try to send metta, open your heart to him, you know. Because everybody's connected to energy, you know, not necessarily physical contact, but we are all connected through energy, you know. So try to send some loving thoughts and good positive energy to the people. Then maybe they can change, maybe they will not change, but it doesn't matter. But you change yourself from inside out.
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Try to be sending your loving energy towards that person. Make him be or her be well and happy. Yeah. Because like anybody else, everybody wants to be happy. Yeah. Just immediately feel the love first, you know. Then
I think
try to send it.
Yeah, because what I can see here is you're sharing a lot of kindness and compassion to the people that you're having difficulty with, and for me, I like to remind myself that actually the reason why they're behaving like that is because they're ignorant. They're suffering themselves.
I remember. I remember. I think it's, Marianne Williamson says, you know, whatever a person do or say or act, it is either a call for help or expression of love. If the action of that person anger you or frustrated you, because he's calling for help, actually inside he needs love. He may be fearful. Yeah, he asking for help, but we misunderstood that. We think this guy is mean, this guy is bad, you know. He make us angry and all those things. But try to understand meaning behind it. They are not happy as well inside. You know, a lot of bad stuff happening inside.
That's true. So if they're like happy and well in themselves, they probably wouldn't speak to you in that manner. They probably wouldn't treat you like that.
Absolutely.
We can feel sorry for them.
Yeah, and be empathy.
Yeah. And also you feel how lucky you are not like them. So you can appreciate yourself in a way having that kind of boss. Yeah. So you can look at the situation from a different angle. So you don't, you know, because everybody behave in whatever, there must have a reason behind it. And if you try to understand the reason behind it, and you naturally you will forgive them because they have problems they can't solve, and you can solve better than them. So you appreciate your nature, your capability, whatever you can do better than them. It's not just because they are he's the boss, so he's better. He's better. Has the position, but it doesn't mean that he's a more capable person like you. Yeah.
And I think Joy was about to say something as well. So that's actually quite a nice way to put it, Koonlin. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. I remember. I think it's a mystical poet, the Sufi. It's a Sufi mystic, you know, by the name of Rumi. He says, you know, there's a crack in everything, you know. That's where the lights comes in.
I like that.
There's a crack in everything, in our life, in our relationship, in our health, you know, in the global situation, politically or whatever, you know. So there's a crack in everything, but that's where the lights comes. That is quite a positive statement.
That is a lovely way to put it.
Much. Yeah.
Thank you. And just wanted to say that, relate that to some of the comments here. I think in terms of looking at a difficult situation, I can hear that, you know, Sherab and Koonlin are teaching us to learn how to share some compassion or understand a person that might be behaving that way because they're in a very difficult situation. And at the same time, I think what Christine was saying here might apply in this situation is maybe sometimes you need to have that courage to walk away, that strength to walk away from situations that aren't very helpful as well. So perhaps maybe that job might not. Sometimes, but then I suppose in relationships it's really hard as well when you're working on a relationship. Maybe walking away would be maybe just giving that pause, that distance, that moment for some clarity, some thinking, where maybe then share kind of cognitive thinking, reconstruction thinking, and start. And we've got Irene. Oh, thank you for Irene's compliments. And we've got Christine also saying, never directly respond to rudeness. When people are rude to you, they review who they are, not who we are. That's a good point. Don't take it personally. And
don't take it personally.
And everyone has a story that we don't know. That's so true.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So it's like, actually, that's really handy because when I talk to somebody that I don't like or saying something horrible to me, I'll just remind myself, it's just a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of me.
Yeah. How they treat us is their karma, but how we respond is our karma, you know.
Yeah. And we've got Tan Wang Si, also known as Nancy as well, that she has a quote that she uses, love or fear, where does it come from? That's a good question to ask ourselves. So maybe when we're having difficulty with a boss or a partner or a friend, that fear and love. Where does it come from?
Any time of our life, we only have one type of emotions. It's either love or fear. You know, when we have fear, there's absence of love. When you have love, there's absence of fear. So we can choose to have love. Just bring light in, and the darkness will be dispelled. You know, you don't have to push away the darkness. Just bring some light in. You know.
Well, I think that that's back to when we trace the original. To me, I feel the original source of our negative behavior or fear or negative emotion quite often based on the survival instincts, the original fear of survival. If we don't feel secure enough, if we don't have sufficient security to survive, that is, I think that's back to the original, like all the living beings have share this kind of emotion, but we don't understand it. Deep down, we don't understand it, so we behave like we need some people to respect us. We need people to give good comment to ourselves, because when we trace down to the very, very original problem is I think it's the feeling of insecure in some way.
So, Koonlin, I was thinking, talking about insecurity, that kind of brings to mind what Anthony was asking, actually, earlier on in the comment. He's asked us, how do you be mindful when someone is making you annoyed or angry? I don't know.
Well, it depends on that person, whether it's practically interfering you from moment all the time beside you, or from a distance. It's from a distance, you can leave him away, aside, because it's not really touching you or poking you. But if it's someone really poking you and physically hurting you, of course, you either do something that you can prevent it. If you can't, you have to leave you have to distance from that person, right? And you cannot say that, you can't do both. Then I can't imagine what would be the situation if you're facing someone hurting you or troubling you all the time and you cannot get away from that person. There's always a choice, either, in your mind or physically, you can move away from this kind of situation if you cannot deal with. You give yourself time and space to resolve this problem later on, because you can't expect yourself to solve all kinds of problems, all the time.
That's a good point. I think what you're saying is, try not to solve all the problems at the same time, but it's so important to have that physical and mental space from the person who's annoying you or been doing something that's inappropriate to you. So obviously, if that person is doing something inappropriate, do contact services, support, reach out. You're not the weak one. You might feel that you're in the wrong, even though someone's, swearing at you or treating you horrible. You might feel you're in the wrong, but actually, keep at it and just reach out for support. But at the same time, it sounds like, Koonlin, you're saying that it's important to have that distance, that space. And it sounds like maybe Sherab, what he was saying, using a monologue or your technique, with the fingers. All of these are actually simple techniques to help us create space in our minds, so that we can have more flexibility in responding.
I think our mindfulness method or technique should need to be integral. It combines all the method together, and we can cater make whatever suitable for ourselves. I also think that we start with mindful acceptance of or mindful understanding of the situation rather than struggling with it or fight with it. When you want to run away, or when you want to get rid of the situation, that means you are struggling with it. You know, I want to destroy my suffering. I want to destroy my discomfort. Okay, so there's a confrontation there. Me here, the problem is there. I want to solve the problem. So you must embrace the problem. Be together with that problem until the problem tell us his or her message. Then they will disappear. So I remember the word said, whatever you resist, it will persist. Whatever you watch, when you're watchful, it will disappear by itself. Because everything is impermanent. Yeah. Just watch and let it be and let it go.
And I think those are... Thank you, Sher. I think those are really key takeaway points that I think we probably like our audience to leave with. You know, the last bit that you were saying, how actually if we resist it, it's going to keep going. Whereas if we embrace it and watch it, actually that's a very good way to help it kind of resolve itself. And mindfulness is looking at how we can embrace, you were saying, maybe coming together with that.
If you're too sad, you're too angry, and probably can listen to the song Let It Be, you know. That song helps actually. It's a nice soothing song. I like the song actually.
You shouldn't try to change anyone. You can't really change anyone. The only person you can change is yourself. If you can't change anyone and the person want to disturb you all the time, and you know, either you make him or her be away from you, or you can move away from him or her, because you can't. I mean, you don't think of a Buddha can train another Buddha boy, a Buddha son. So who you are is different from another person. So to know another person well, you have to know yourself totally well. And when you haven't reached the great enlightenment to know about yourself totally, then it's impossible to know another person totally, right? If you don't know another person totally, you cannot solve certain problem with some people. So you just leave them. It doesn't mean that you hate them. The Zen master said that there's 5 kinds of help. One is to give them what they want, to keep them happy.
Yeah, I was thinking, Koonlin, I'm so sorry to interrupt you there. Can you share that 5 tips with us just on the Facebook page? Because we've got a few more minutes left on this live show. We've got 2 minutes left. And just really want to have this opportunity to thank all the listeners as well. I know Anthony's typed, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you very much. I love you. I think you talked about a technique. I think you talked about a technique there.
Ho'oponopono, that's a nice technique. I like it.
So, but just to finish off for today, just really wanted to thank you, all the listeners, Christine, Ray, everybody, Irene, everyone for, listening, and Nancy as well. Just people who've been typing in and people who haven't even typed in, but just listen to us. I think, just really grateful for all your kind attention. We really hope that this is something that you can take back and maybe have a think and help you realize that all of you are so awesome. We always recharge our batteries for our phone. And we think that it's actually really important that we do the same for ourselves. It's really hard to pour from an empty jug. So I would love to continue chatting with you all. But I realize that sometimes we don't have that much time, but at least we know that there will be a next time. Yes. Which will be next week, same time, same day. And I think one of the topics that we're going to cover is emotional healing. And, any comments on the page as well. If you want us to talk about different things that matters to you about the mind, do let us know, because we want to talk about them. We want to share all the resources. We want to hear your voice and learn from you as well. I know Joy haven't spoken much today. And he's got so much to share as well. So I think we'll be able to hear more from him as well next time. And we'd love to invite some of our guests here, some of our listeners too, to join our chat show, perhaps, if that would be all right. So I think this might cut off automatically. I don't know, because this is the first time I've done this. We've got Beijing thanking us all. Thank you so much, Beijing, for joining us as well. And Christine, we've got lovely comments from everybody. That's so kind. And I have to say, I think one of the reasons why I'm here today is because of all of you. Like, you guys just make me so inspired. It's just, Yeah, it's just, I know this COVID thing has been so hard, but it's because having friends like you and some audiences here, you know, everybody has different journeys and you all share them with me. It just makes everything more very worthwhile.
Yep.
So before we close, I was thinking instead of saying goodbye and we'll see you next time and we'd love to see you again, do our guest speakers want to leave at the audience maybe a short quote or anything before we close?
From me,
okay. Joy, go first.
Okay, thanks, Sarah.
Sure.
So I'll just say that because we cannot actually avoid tech, we can't avoid our mobile phones, we can't avoid our laptops. So just try to be mindful when you're using technology and explore ways like apps and Chrome extension of mindfulness or something to use tech in a positive way. Like tech is like a any weapon we have got. It can be used in a good way or a bad way. Try to use it in the best possible way and be mindful of your posture and so on when you're using tech. That's all.
So, yeah, for me, it's let's face everything and rise. And then there's a crack in everything. That's where the lights comes in. Yeah. Thank you.
And Koonlin?
Try to be mindful from moment to moment, and everything can be artful if you look at it from an artistic point of view.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And we've got Hong here, who's amazing. He's from Malaysia as well. Sorry, everyone from Malaysia, amazing. So Hong saying thank you. We've got Ishan thanking us as well. But yeah, thank you so much for those really key things that we can maybe have a think about later on and apply to our everyday activities. And I hope everyone's going to have a wonderful week ahead, even though it might be stressful at times. It sounds like we've got a few different games that we can use to apply and test it out and see if it works. I don't think it's realistic to get rid of distress and stress in our lives. It's more about how we respond. So thank you, Brother Chong, for keeping this going for us.
Thanks to you too. Also, Kat, you are doing very well.
Oh, thank you for the learning opportunity. Sure. And I look forward to seeing you all again. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.